Your subconscious doesn't want to click this, but you did anyway. That's good. Well, maybe not good exactly, but it's a start. Let's just be honest with ourselves. You are dead. Not in that look behind you jump scare sense. In the you have been dead for some time since. Deep down you know it, or suspect it at least. But right this second, you are amused by this writing. Where's this going? You ask. So you're not quite ready yet. That's to be expected. Denial, a vital part of the human experience. You've heard your life passes before your eyes when you die. It does, but not the way you think. Your past doesn't flash before you, your future does. Not your real future, the future you imagine for yourself. The human mind doesn't handle severe change well. It needs to take time to process. Remember losing the first thing you really loved? How your perceptions changed? That was your mind trying to sort it out. That's what your life is now. It's your dying mind trying to sort things out. Again, deep down, you know you are dead. But it can't be spelled out here. It won't be too emotionally traumatic. So instead, here are a few examples of something that might have happened. That near miss when you avoided a horrible accident. The time you almost drowned but came up at the last minute. That horrible illness that you made a miraculous recovery from. Any of that sound a little familiar? At the moment of death, your mind isn't quite ready to accept that sudden, jarring end to everything. So it invents your future. That's not possible. It makes no sense. You're thinking. That's okay. Time is subjective. Remember how dreams feel like days, or how when you are in pain seconds feel like hours? This is just another manifestation of that. In reality, you died less than a second ago. Even as your brain tries to cope, it also tries to understand death. So, have you found yourself with more of a fascination with death, horror, maybe movies, maybe books, maybe short, scary stories? You've read a few tales. It's comfortable because you're working towards the truth. This side is simply your mind's manifestation of a coping mechanism. Everything here you've read or heard is preparing you for the transition. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Well, for you, it kind of is. Haha, humor. Another coping mechanism. So you're going to close this story with a snort or a shake of a head. This isn't the finale. This isn't the time you will accept the truth. It's the first seed. You know how in dreams you don't remember everything in reality? What's your mother's favorite food? What's the first thing you felt guilty about? Do you remember where you got every scar? Where was the first place you went on vacation? Anything fuzzy? Are you forgetting things you should know? You're shutting down. Think about it. Sleep well. Hello there, my name is Ink, and welcome to the campfire. I hope you enjoyed that last story, if it is just a story. That story was called Your Subconscious Doesn't Want to Click This. Now we move on forward to our next story. And this story that I'm about to tell you is called This New Old House. We bought an old house, my boyfriend and I. He's in charge of the new construction, converting the kitchen into the master bedroom for instance, while I'm on wallpaper removal duty. The previous owner prepared every wall and ceiling. Removing it is brutal, but oddly satisfying. The best feeling is getting a long peel, similar to your skin when you're peeling from a sunburn. I don't know about you, but I kinda make a game of peeling, on the hunt for the longest piece before it rips. Under a corner section of paper in every room is a person's name and a date. Curiosity got the best of me one night when I googled one of the names and discovered the person was actually a missing person. The missing date matching the date under the wallpaper. The next day, I made a list of all the names and dates. Sure enough, each name was for a missing person, with dates to match. We notified the police, who naturally sent out the crime scene team. I overheard one text say, "Yup, it's human." Human? What's human? Ma'am, where is the material you removed from the walls already? This isn't wallpaper you were removing. That last story could have happened to any one of us. So make sure you make a little background check when you first buy or even rent a house that you're supposed to live in. Now let's move on to the next story that I really like. This story I'm about to share to you is called Don't Forget to Vote. Please don't forget to vote, she pleaded with me as I opened the door to leave. Trish always liked to worry. Yeah, I won't forget, I said in the most reassuring tone I could muster. I had no troubles during the local and regional elections, but I guess that made me careless. At the start of the day, I went to the bank to get some cash and sort out some stupid error with my account. When I got to the local branch, I overheard two women ahead of me in line. The first woman seemed rather enthusiastic. "Did you see the national debate last night?" "No," replied the second woman. "The debates are way too depressing." "Come on, where's your sense of civic pride?" She playfully shaded her friend, but they immediately fell silent. It took a few hours for the teller to fix my problem. He seemed rather flustered, sweating profusely in the air-conditioned office. I remember trying to make small talk, put the guy at ease. It didn't work. Some people just get like that around election time. Afterwards, I decided to go to the mall. The mall is always quiet on election day. I spent the next several hours mindlessly browsing the stores. I must have wasted at least an hour looking at a pool table we didn't have the space for at home. Not to mention the fit Trish would have if I bought it without consulting her. Maybe that's why I ended up going to my favorite bar. They have good pool tables there. Like a lot of people, I normally come for a stiff drink after voting. I know some come for the late night election coverage, but I always leave before that. The election results aren't announced until the next day. This time, however, I stayed for 1 drink and then 2, then I skipped 3 and went straight to 4. The television screens kept blathering on and on about the election candidates, what their plans were, where they grew up, interviews with their families. It made me sick. When I stumbled home, Trish was already in bed. She always stays in after voting. I fell asleep beside her in a whiskey-induced oblivion. The next day, we watched the election result announcements. The government official spoke in a dry monotone.
Third place with 16% of the vote, Mark Gregory, firing squad. In second place with 29% of the vote, Janice Fowler, the pyre. In first place with 43 of the vote, Kevin Lyle.
He cleared his throat.
Live burial. Felicia Chambers has been released with 12% of the vote. Your government would like to thank you for participating in this election cycle and voting for who you believe deserve to die. We would like to remind all citizens that the candidates for the next election will be comprised of all non-voters.
Trish noticed my arm tense. What's wrong? You remembered to vote, didn't you? No, I'm not sure, folks, if that's a PSA from the writer, but I really do think you shouldn't forget to vote. Now let's go to the next one. This would be our last one for tonight. The story is called Afterdeath. The pain ended quickly. I rose and tried to find my body, probably lying mangled underneath the metallic wreck. Dying in a road accident is definitely the worst way to go. So, had a nice life? Asked a voice behind me. I turned around to find a woman smiling. Since she could see me, I was pretty sure she was a soul like me. She giggled. You are taking it pretty well. I'm Cindy, by the way. I spoke evenly. What happens now? Hell? Heaven? She laughed louder. Before I could say something, I heard a commotion from far off. Cindy shouted, "Come on!" And she ran. She turned and yelled, "Have you been good?" What? Have you done any good while you lived? Totally confused, I spluttered. I donated blood once. As we reached the source of the noise, I was dumbstruck to find hundreds of people ripping each other apart in front of a hospital. I shouted, "What is happening here?" Cindy replied, "Someone is giving birth here. These souls are fighting to get inside the newborn shell." "But the baby, listen to me. There is no baby until a soul penetrates it. If no soul makes it inside, the shell is pronounced dead by doctors." She continued, "Your fighting strength depends on your karma. So the soul of a rapist or a pedophile, etc., stands no chance. They will never get a shell and will painfully wither away. Children are most dangerous. Pure souls. Stay away from them during fights." "But what about heaven? And hell?" "This is hell. And more importantly, the life you left behind. That is heaven." So I guess that's it, folks. Have a good night, and remember to always do good things. Be nice to each other, and I'll I'll see you again next time in the campfire.